This was all drawn in Procreate, and this is what it would have looked like before Procreate made this one tiny update that most people are completely overlooking. By now, you've probably heard about Procreate's big 5.4 update, and with that, they dropped a feature that I kind of think most people are ignoring, but it can completely change the way you create art in an entire art style. Pixel art. If you've ever tried to create crisp, blocky pixels in Procreate, you know it's kind of a pain, but with Alpha Threshold in Brush Studio, you can turn any brush into a pixel-perfect tool. I'll show you exactly where to find Alpha Threshold in the Brush Studio and how a couple quick adjustments can completely transform any brush into a pixel brush. But first, let me quickly explain exactly what that means. Every brush stroke in Procreate isn't just color. It also has something called an alpha channel, and that's just a fancy way of saying transparency. Normally when you draw a line, Procreate smooths the edges by painting semi-transparent pixels around them, and that's what makes your strokes look soft and blended when you zoom in, and this is called anti-aliasing. Alpha Threshold changes that. It sets a cutoff. If a pixel is strong enough, it stays fully opaque. If it's too weak, it disappears completely. No in between, no fuzzy edge pixels. In other words, it removes anti-aliasing and forces your brush to either be a solid or nothing, which is exactly what you need for clean, crisp pixel art. Now that you understand what Alpha Threshold actually does, creating those crisp lines and taking away that blurry effect, let's go ahead and see this in action. Because now with this change, the best part is you don't need to download any extra brushes, you don't have to create your own brush, you can just use any brush and make it into a pixel perfect brush. So here's how to do it. First, open up your brush library and pick a simple brush to start with. I decided to use the Jaeger brush from the new brush libraries. It looks clean and consistent, so I think it's perfect for making into a pixel brush. So swipe left on it, duplicate it, that way we're not messing with the original. Tap onto your duplicated brush and open the Brush Studio. Along the left side, go down to the rendering section. You'll see a new option called Alpha Threshold, and by default, the slider below it is set to 0%. Go ahead and slide it up to max. As you increase the alpha threshold, Procreate forces the brush to snap into solid, hard edge pixels instead of blending soft ones. That's exactly what we need for pixel art. Go ahead and tap on done and try drawing a line on your canvas. You'll notice how every stroke looks sharp and blocky without the blurry anti-aliasing that you usually get. If you zoom in, you'll see that the pixels are crisp. And just like that, we've turned a regular brush into a pixel brush. No downloads, no creating a pixel brush with a square image, just one setting inside Brush Studio. Now that we've built our pixel brush, let's go ahead and put it to the test. We'll make another one of these simple pixel art trees so you can see how it works in action. We're gonna make this a 64-bit pixel drawing. So what we need is literally a 64 pixel by 64 pixel canvas. To keep things neat, I'll turn on a drawing guide in Procreate and set it to a grid, and set the grid to 1 pixel. This makes it easier to line up my pixels like little building blocks. It's literally 64 pixels by 64 pixels. This is exactly how you make 64-bit pixel art. Using the pixel brush, I'll start with a few brown blocks to make the tree trunk, and notice how the stroke is snapping cleanly to the pixel squares. No fuzzy edges. Next, I'll switch to a green and block in the top of the tree with chunky, rounded pixel clusters. I'm not worried about making it perfect. The charm of pixel art is in its simplicity. And then I'll just go through choosing a lighter green for the highlights on top. Because of the alpha threshold, the shading stays crisp and retro, just like classic video game art. And it's great to turn on alpha lock to make sure that what you shade in stays within the bounds of what you've already drawn. And so I'll just do the same thing with the brown. I'll choose a darker for the shadowing and a lighter shade for kind of the highlights and where the sun would be hitting. And if you'd like, you can add a little patch of grass below, painting the shadowy areas with some darker colors, and then the lighter areas, thinking about what faces towards the light and adding the highlights to those sections. And that's the beauty of this, just simple additions of darks and lights, and then you're done and you have a really great pixel art piece. So this is where you can really see a difference. Before this update, Procreate would blur and soften the edges, but now with alpha threshold, everything stays sharp and pixel pixel perfect. So with just one setting, you can create your own pixel art brush and build an entire style right inside Procreate. And once you get the hang of pixel art, like with this tree, you can try characters, buildings, or even full game style scenes. And there are some hidden benefits to learning and practicing pixel art. And I think it's going to totally change how you view this art style. Pixel art isn't just fun and nostalgic, even though it totally is. But more than that, it can help you understand color. It forces you to think about art and color in the simplest form. When you're limited to just chunky pixels, every color choice matters. A single dark square is now a shadow, or a group of light squares are a highlight. It's as if color and light theory have been stripped down to their most simple form. You're learning to create depth and contrast with the fewest possible moves, and no blending whatsoever. And that skill carries through everything you create. So whether you're just having fun playing with pixel art, or you're sharpening your eye for color and contrast, this feature makes it so much easier to create crisp, blocky designs right here in the app. And the best part is, this is just one of many updates that Procreate has dropped. And if you want to see what else they added to make your workflow faster, easier, and more creative, go ahead and tap into this video, where I break down all the new features that you might not realize are actually pretty amazing. So go ahead and head to that video, and I will see you there.